Hi, honey. I'm back. Let me just take my gear off. And I'll put the loot in the chest. Oh, I see you put the boar meat to good use. Are we doing a honey pepper pancake stacker for dinner? Great. Let me get some of that honey pepper boar bacon. Anyway, hold on, I gotta... Thank goodness I got that one gulp perk. Every meal can be swallowed quickly with full benefits. Or basically, I can eat anything in one bite while not choking or getting fat. Actually, that's part of something I need to talk about with you. You know, when you, me, and everyone else in that women's studies course got transported to this fantasy world by that weird flash, I expected you to be the first person to jump at the chance to explore this realm and quest. You were always playing video games, so living in a world that is one big video game should have been right up your alley. But you're just hanging back at the starting town and keeping this house tidy. I know this is a good place to put our feet up and store all our loot, but you haven't gotten a single perk or stat increase since we got here. I'm actually pretty sure your attack and defense have gone down in the past few months, and I don't even know how that's possible. I know you're free to make your own choices in this new world, and I had just defeated a dragon the size of a mountain while you've been reorganizing the loot chest for the 1000th time. I used a magic spell to grow to the size of 2 mountains and threw it into the sun. Simple as that. Have you even gone on a single quest? Oh, you have? Can I see the quest notice? Quest. Retrieve fallen key. Me and my husband have a chest, but the key has fallen underneath the floorboards. Reward 500 gold. Alright, did you actually go to the quest location and attempt it? You should have gotten a report from the guild about your exploit. You did? Can I see it? Come on, it couldn't have gone that bad. Let me see the report and... Oh, thank you. Notice of quest failure. Quest giver reports that questing party showed up unprepared for task. Upon receiving shrinking potion from quest giver to travel underneath floorboards and retrieve key while in shrunken form. While shrunken, questing party lied in fetal position for 3 hours due to fear infliction. Quest giver reports having to throw party out of house using dustpan. After returning to normal size, quester was notified of quest failure due to lack of performance. Result: minus 100 gold for shrinking potion. Quest to be reapplied on board. Hun, I'm sorry. I had no idea. If it'll make you feel better, I could get that quest done. Good. I'm glad you're feeling better. I won't badger you about how to live your life in this fantasy world. And hey, after I took care of their dragon problem, the town offered me another house in their village, so I could set up a teleport stone over there and it would be like an extension of our current home. I wanted to run it by you before I accepted the house. What do you think? Great. I'll grab a few teleport stones from the merchant to set up the fast travel system. Then I'll run over to the other house and set it up. Oh, you already got teleport stones? How much did they cost? Oh, oops. I forget what I loot sometimes. Thanks for keeping track of all the stuff I got on these exploits. I'd probably forget my gear if it wasn't magically attached to my soul. Guess you could say I bring home the feast and you're the one who cooks it. That joke was terrible. You know, I could get rid of my one gulp perk. I feel like I don't pay attention to all the hard work you do around the house now, so slamming all the food into the back of my gullet in 0.3 seconds might not mean I'm actually savoring this stuff. I've got a list of perks I can exchange it with. Here. If you want me to exchange it with something on here, just let me know and I'll do it. Most of these perks are useless, but perks can only be exchanged with perks of equal or lesser value. I can already bench press the entire continent, so I don't really care. Yeah, that earthquake was me. There was a demon underneath the continent. It was gonna blow the world up if I didn't kill it. It was a whole thing. Don't worry about it. But my point is that I'm already insanely awesome. And you are too, in a different way. Get all the loot ready. We'll be able to display even more of it. Where did you put most of it anyway? What do you mean, someone else took it? Did we get robbed? If I find out who stole from us, I'll make them pay with their blood. What do you mean you gave it to them? There are banks in this world? I've just been dropping the loot after 3 dungeons since I thought I'd have to get back home to unload everything. I had no idea I could just put some of that loot in a bank and keep grabbing everything I can find. This makes me so happy. I can go back to old dungeons and get the rest of the loot. I can see if there's any passageways I missed on my first run. There might even be a few quests I missed. How did I not realize this? Look at me. Now I'm the one with egg on their face. Alright, I'm gonna go take care of that property acquisition and set up the teleport stone. See you in a bit. Hey honey, just got the teleport stone set up. Come on, let's go check out the new place. So, what do you think? Actually, before you answer, let me show you around the house. We've got a few rooms around here, nothing too special. No utilities either, but I'm certain you can install it like you did with the old place. Big hole in the roof, so we can put in a skylight. Also, holes in the walls, so extensions will be easier to build. Don't look out those holes. Everything's on fire out there. So the sellers are motivated. There's, Look, here's what happened. I was getting that boar meat for you the other night when I noticed that the animals of the forest were running away from something. I run towards the danger, and just like I expected, there's a dragon spewing fire. So at first I'm thinking, oh great, once I kill him I can go to the greatest blacksmith in the world and get some top-tier armor. Turns out though, he wouldn't stop flapping his wings. Usually they get tired at some point and have to land, but the big lizard must have missed that memo. It would have taken an octuple jump to hit him with my sword, and of course I haven't unlocked that yet. So I try using arrows and magic, and he just flies out of my range. Then I see him using his fire breath on a village, so obviously I get everyone out and keep attacking him. Anyway, I used my fair fight perk to copy the size of the dragon. I maybe got in a single punch when he just shoots up. Obviously, I tried jumping a few times, thinking, okay, you can't use anything but your bare fists in this form. If you can grab him by the tail, you can just rip that off and get the scales. So I started jumping for him a couple times. Obviously don't want anyone to get hurt, so I make sure to land away from the village. Then I see I've got enough SP to upgrade my perk 2 times, so obviously I try to go for the octuple jump, but then the list said the octuple jump is 3 upgrades away. So at first I'm panicking, but then I start to realize, oh wait, I can just upgrade the fair fight perk to square fight, where my copied size has an optional chance to be doubled or cut in half, so I buy and use that chance. I figure it's gotta work right the first time. Problem is, I ended up half the current size. So I start flipping through my lists of possible perk upgrades, when there I see squared fairs on the skill tree where I just have a button for the double. Here, wanna see it? There was also one called Fight Unfair, where I could get a button for half the size, though I'm not sure why. Anyway, I used the double button and it's not working. Then the little indicator on the side said I needed to reset the skill, so I do that real quick. You know, take the 10 minutes to get everyone else out of there. Turns out they have a mass evacuation teleport stone ready, so everyone was able to get to safety, but they forgot their livestock, so I was just trying to herd all the farm animals into the teleport stone, which was a bit of a pain. Anyway, after doing all that, the skill is ready to use, so I get Big, rip off his tail, and throw him into the sun like a bale of hay. Looking back on it, I guess maybe it was more complex than I let on. So I go through the municipal's teleport stone to check on the village folk, figure I might have completed some kind of emergency quest, and I was right. For the reward, they gave me any house of my choosing, so I figure I can just redeem that reward whenever I want a new place to stash my loot. But I didn't really care about that since the blacksmith who could make that top-tier armor was just down the street from the evacuation center. Yeah, so turns out the flames never got extinguished. Usually they just rebuild the village with lumber from the nearby forests, but it turns out since I was avoiding stepping on the village when I was jumping, I kinda destroyed their lumber supply. So now all the villagers packed up and moved into the city. Good news is I saved all the cows and chickens, so they're at least making a living there selling milk and eggs. When I came back to redeem the quest giver assumed the dragon smashed up the forest. I didn't want to tell him the truth, so I just played the sympathizer, saying I'm just glad nobody got hurt and all that. Worked like a charm. So, yeah, we might need to renovate it like we did the old place. Let's just stay there for now. Then you can just pop back over here and fix the place up whenever you want. It's probably gonna take a lot of time and materials, but I can take care of the latter. Just write down the list of materials and I'll look for them while I'm questing. Okay, let me have a look at it. Lumber. That's just wood, right? I can go to the elven forest and bring back some trees. Should be simple enough, if a little tedious. Copper. Yeah, I can just go to the troll mines and get that. That's the brown one, right? I'll just ask the trolls when I get there. Iron. I'll grab that too when I'm at the mines. Just pick up all the shiny brown and gray rocks. Simple as that. What's next on the list? Tons of sand. Sand? Why do we need sand? I guess I could just grow big and bring it all over with my hands. Should be some giant sea monsters I can use my fair fight on. So, we need all this stuff, then we can get this house fixed? Great. I'll see you in a bit. Wow, that was a long trip. Anyway. It's fine. I got that wood for you, honey. Did you know it's hard to get wood from a tree by hitting it with your sword? Who knew? So, I was going at it for a while when these wood elves showed up, and they were like, "This is our territory, you upset the balance of nature with your nonsensical logging practices." So, I figured they're gonna try to fight me, but turns out they just needed me to clear it with their government. So, I head to the wood elves' capital, and for some reason I get hungry. So I find this little restaurant down the street from where I needed to go for the logging permits, and they only accept copper coins. Luckily, I brought some copper coins, but I only had enough to order from the kids' menu. They gave me a few chicken tenders and some fries. Luckily, the dipping sauce was free, so it was pretty good. Anyway, I finish up at the restaurant and get to the permit department. I ask a clerk how to get the permits, and she asks me what I'm using the wood for. I tell her I'm using them to build a house, and she says that I have to just sign my name on some forms that will take a while to fill out. Then she gives me a voucher for a meal at the cafeteria, so I just wasted my copper coins for nothing. But I got the permits done, so that was good. Anyway, I've got that done. What's been going on with you? What else is there to talk about? Oh yeah, I noticed the village is significantly less on fire while coming in. I'm gonna assume you and the townsfolk put that fire out. But anyway, I feel like there was something I was forgetting. Let me think. Right, I've still got to get that dragon tail to the blacksmith. Just have to figure out how to do it. It's pretty big, and my inventory space has a limit. Looks like I'm just gonna have to take it to the blacksmith with an over-encumbered inventory. That's gonna be a pain. Anything else going on before I go? What's this paper? Is it a quest? Notice of quest adjustment. As previously stated in past notice of quest failure, questing party had failed to retrieve quest giver's key from under her floorboards. After quest was reapplied on board, questing party took the quest, illegally accepting the quest that was previously failed. After returning to quest giver's place of residence, questing party used an alternative solution to quest without quest giver's permission. Alternative solution was to pull out floorboards of the property, grabbing the key before changing the flooring, preventing the key from being lost in a similar manner again. Quest giver accepted the alternative, stating, "Every time someone retrieves the chest key, it ends up falling under the floorboards and I have to reapply the quest. Now I can spend that time and money on literally anything other than watching people shrink under my floorboards to retrieve the key for the family chest." However, due to lack of communication from the questing party, reward of 500 gold will be withheld. Quest completed. Honey, you actually did a quest? That's great. I will admit this is a bit of an uncouth method, but it got better results than shrinking to the size of G.I. Joe and running around underneath the floor of some lady's house. Now she won't have to worry about losing that key ever again. Makes me wonder what's in her family's chest, though. Maybe we can go ask her sometime? I know it's not the most pressing concern right now, but I'm still kind of interested. I'm pretty sure it's just some family photos or something, but it could be anything. Oh, I should have asked you this first. Did you see what was in it? You didn't? Oh well, we'll just have to go ask her at some point. Maybe after we build this house and I take care of the dragon tail. Speaking of, where is that thing? Oh, right. It's the giant mass of red scales that is blocking out the horizon. I forgot. Well, one of the world's greatest blacksmiths is in the troll mines. Calls himself the blacksmith troll from what I've heard. I'll just grab the dragon tail from here and fast travel to the troll mines. Don't worry, I unlocked being able to use teleportation stones while being over-encumbered. It was, hold on. Magic Back. It's an upgrade to Strong Back, where I carry 100 kilograms more than before. I also got the other upgrade on the skill tree Numb Back, where I can use my stamina to move at a regular pace when I'm over-encumbered. Of course, it's still a pain to get anywhere. Fast travel is like taking a flight. You get closer to where you need to be, but you still have to get some ground travel in before you get to where you actually need to go. Unless you need to be at the airport, but I'm not sure why you're doing business at the airport. Maybe you work at the airport? I don't know. Look, my point is that I can meet the blacksmith in the troll mines, then he can use the dragon's tail to make me the best armor set in the world. I'll grab some copper and iron while I'm there so we can start working on the house when I get back. I'm just gonna go over to the dragon's tail, touch it, and teleport over to the troll mines. Their teleportation stone is set up outside, so it'll be fine when I bring the tail over. Alright, I'll see you later. I've got a blacksmith to see. Hey honey, I'm back. Not in the best mood though, considering this. Can you guess what this is? Of course not, but this is supposed to be my armor. Alright, let me explain what happened. So I take the tail to the troll mines expecting them to charge quite a bit of money, so I was hauling an assload of gold with me. So I come in with the dragon tail. Oh, by the way, I was expecting I was going to have to leave the dragon tail outside, go in the cave, bring the blacksmith outside, and he'd make the dragon tail into armor. Turns out it wasn't a cave as much as an endless abyss with an impossibly huge yawning to it. I swear, you could put New York City on its side and it would still fit in the cave with plenty of space to move around. The ceiling of that cave was probably thousands of miles above me when I got in there. I asked the trolls about it, and they said the most cramped parts of the cave had a whole circumference of about 5,350 miles. It was insane. And I asked a lot of them, and they even showed me their expedition books, and it was that same estimate. Anyway, I bring the tail into the cave, and immediately the guards at the entrance say I have to bring it through customs before I can take it in there. But then I say I have to get to the blacksmith, and they look at me like I'm crazy. I explain to them that I'm taking the dragon tail to the blacksmith when they give me this weird look and say, ma'am, the blacksmith is outside the entrance to the cave. So I have to go back to the entrance lugging this tail with me, and when I finally get there, I get to the blacksmith, and it turns out to be these twins. And at first I'm wondering, which one is the greatest blacksmith? So I ask them both, which one of you is the world's greatest blacksmith? Then they both just say yes, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're a duo. One holds the anvil and the other holds the hammer, and they just smash whatever they're forging between them. That makes sense, right? I don't know how blacksmithing works. But anyway, I tell them I want these dragon scales to be made into the greatest armor in the world, and they say, okay, it'll be 10 gold pieces. So obviously I think, what a deal, I guess it's a work of passion for them. So I give them the money, and they say, give us a day, we have to get the materials and forge it. Here's a tourism pamphlet for the cave. So I decide to give them the time and explore. Turns out it's a pretty interesting place too. They have the cave set up so most of the architecture is built right into the cave. It was nuts. They had these buildings that were hanging from the ceiling like stalactites where you have to take a lift up there and you could go between the buildings on these bridges. They had some hotels, so I decided to stay up there for the night. Terrible idea, by the way. I spent most of the night worried the whole hotel would collapse. It's kind of like being in those buildings with the glass floors where you can see the street underneath your feet, but infinitely more terrifying considering how this was higher up than any building could ever be. When I checked out, I wanted to get back to the ground so I would be able to get rid of my vertigo. They kept telling me how safe it was, and they haven't had an incident in millennia, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get back down there as fast as possible. Then they tell me there is an easy way to get down as fast as possible. I take them up on that, and they threw me off the bridge. So I'm in this panic during the freefall, but then another person jumps down to join me, and they grab onto me before revealing they have levitation magic. So I have them let me down to the ground, and they say, had you going for a second there, didn't we? And I immediately punched them so hard it broke their nose. Before the guards could come arrest me, though, I ran back out of the cave to the blacksmith's. I go there and I see this guy who says, oh yeah, you're that lady who wanted better armor, right? Well, the twins said they finished it for you. Then they hand me this and a picture of an anvil. So obviously I start yelling at the guy because, just look at it. It's just a couple of the dragon scales with a bunch of iron and copper melted onto the sides. This is not the greatest armor in the world. It's not even armor. Armor is supposed to be attached together. This is... I don't know what those twins were thinking. And what does the paper mean? Wait, why'd you grab that from me? Where are you going? Wait, is this another blacksmith shop just across the road? How did I not notice this? Well, even if they're a blacksmith, I doubt they're able to help out.
Who said I wouldn't be able to help out?
I did. Sorry, miss.
The quiet one brought a friend. The name's Amby. I'm a blacksmith around these parts. Let me take a look at whatever it is you think I can't help with. Oh, you're trying to do an armor quest, huh?
What's an armor quest?
Wait, did you come from those dimwits over at the cave? Did they give you that? I swear those two prats are always trying to throw a spanner in the works, while the rest of us are just trying to send people on these armor quests. I'm gonna need to have a talk with them. Alright, let's get this quest sorted. Why don't we start with your names?
Well, my name is Greta, and I don't know what my friend's name is since he doesn't talk. I've just been calling him Honey ever since we met. I asked him to write it down, but he just shakes his head. It's been a bit of a headache trying to figure this guy out. Most of his communication is through shaking or nodding his head.
Damn, so this bag of bones won't talk to an established adventurer such as yourself any more than this humble blacksmith? I'm guessing the other two didn't explain how blacksmiths work. Well, in that case, let me explain the Brilliant Blacksmiths Guild. You see, each blacksmith has their own anvil that works with a different metal. You went to the blacksmiths that only used copper and iron. But when you're trying to make armor out of dragon scales, the copper is an unnecessary decoration, and the iron is just used to attach the other metals to the scales. I myself use the tungsten. Here, let me see the current armor, and I'll attach the dragon scales in a jiffy.
Okay. Here.
Brilliant. Here you go.
Wait, but I just gave you the armor. Don't you need to attach your tungsten?
Tungsten doesn't work especially well with dragon scales. It's just that tungsten is particularly flexible. I've always hated those pricks. But you took them away from here, so people are coming back to me to use my sweet, sweet tungsten. You know, let me just tell you about tungsten real quick. Tungsten is the most useful material on the planet. You can keep drilling and drilling with it, and it can survive anything. We use it with armor, with swords, with tools. Anything you can think of, it's probably better off with tungsten. And I'm not just saying that. I use it for everything I do. Last night, I used tungsten silverware with tungsten plates to eat my dinner, before taking a tungsten bath and going to bed on my tungsten mattress in my tungsten house.
Oh yeah, I was wondering why that weird metal house was able to survive the fires.
Yeah, I didn't know the fires happened. My tungsten can survive anything and keeps me safe no matter what. It truly is the finest material in all existence. Anyway, here's a map of all the greatest blacksmiths in the world.
Wait, when did you make that?
Oh, this? I made it while I was talking about the glory of tungsten. You must have been too entranced to notice. Honey never says a word, of course, so he's obviously not going to point that out. Bit of a useless chap, ain't he?
I don't know, he has a few redeeming qualities. Honey is one hell of a craftsman.
What? Like me?
Not really, he's more of a carpenter than a blacksmith.
Oh, so that's what the list of stuff was for. Don't know what the copper's for, but I'm sure the iron is for nails and such. I'm just gonna assume we got all that from the gruesome twosome back at the cave.
Oh, crap. I'm gonna have to go back, aren't I?
No worries. I can have them send plenty of supplies over here. Having a shop in the middle of a field of ash is a bit of a downer, so I can have them send all of the ironworks. I owe you anyway. A bunch of rotting dragon's meat was stinking up the place.
Oh, yeah, that must be why I haven't seen you until now. You were trying to avoid the smell.
No, I've seen you around. You're just not very observant.
Oh. I'm just gonna go.
Probably for the best anyway. Most blacksmiths hate talking to people, and that includes me. Take care.
Thanks. I'll get going.
Does she not have teleportation spells on her?